Last night, while you cried in silence, I was awake holding your broken heart. You thought nobody saw your pain, but I counted every tear and wrote your healing into tomorrow. My beloved child, before this message moves any further, I need you to understand something with your entire soul. You are not listening to these words by accident. I brought you here because your heart has been carrying pain too heavy for human hands to hold, and tonight I refuse to let you believe that you are alone anymore. I watched you last night when the room became quiet and your thoughts became loud. I saw the tears you quickly wiped away because you did not want anyone else to know how tired you truly are. I heard the questions you buried deep inside your chest because you feared nobody would understand them. But I understood every silent cry. I understood every shaking breath. I understood every moment you stared into darkness, wondering how much more your heart could survive. My child, I was there beside you when you felt abandoned. I was there when disappointment wrapped around your soul like chains. I was there when memories returned without warning and reopened wounds you thought had already healed. You believed you were breaking apart in silence, but what you could not see was that I was holding every shattered piece of you in my hands. I know how exhausted you have become. I know there are days when smiling feels like work and breathing feels heavier than it should. I know you are tired of pretending to be okay while your soul quietly bleeds behind closed doors. The world around you saw your strength, but I saw your hidden battles. Others praise your patience, but I witnessed the nights where you collapsed emotionally when nobody else was watching. I saw your calm face, but I heard the storm raging inside your spirit. My child, I never ignored your suffering for even 1 second. Every tear you cried became a prayer before me. Every lonely night became a conversation in heaven concerning your future. You thought your pain was evidence that I had forgotten you, but the truth is that your pain became the very place where I began rebuilding your life in secret. There were moments when you begged me for answers and heard only silence. There were moments when you looked around at everyone else moving forward, while your own life felt frozen in place. You questioned your worth. You questioned your future. You even questioned whether your prayers still reached me anymore. But listen carefully now, because this truth will change the way you see your suffering forever. My silence was never abandonment. My silence was preparation. While you were crying, I was building strength inside you that pain could not destroy. While you were waiting, I was protecting doors you were not ready to walk through yet. While you were asking why everything felt delayed, I was saving you from paths that would have broken you completely. My beloved child, what you called delay was actually mercy wearing unfamiliar clothes. I know there were nights when fear whispered lies into your heart. Fear told you that your future would never change. Fear convinced you that your wounds would never heal. Fear made you believe that this heavy season would last forever. But fear has never spoken truth over your life. I have. And tonight I am telling you that your suffering has an expiration date. This chapter of heartbreak is not your final chapter. The storm you survived was not sent to destroy you. It was sent to transform you. I allowed the fire because there were strengths hidden inside you that comfort could never reveal. I allowed the pressure because there was purpose buried beneath your pain that only struggle could uncover. You are not being punished, my child. You are being prepared. You keep asking why people hurt you the way they did. You keep replaying betrayal in your mind, wondering how hearts you trusted could suddenly become cold toward you. I saw every betrayal before it happened. I saw the people who smiled in front of you while secretly tearing you apart behind your back. I saw the abandonment. I saw the rejection. I saw the disappointment that settled into your soul when people you loved failed to protect your heart. But hear me clearly tonight. Their actions did not cancel your destiny. Your betrayal did not remove my hand from your life. What they meant to break you, I will use to build wisdom inside you. What they meant to destroy, I will turn into testimony. You are not ruined because someone walked away from you. You are not worthless because someone failed to value your heart. My child, you are still chosen. You are still loved. You are still deeply held by heaven itself. I know there were moments when you almost gave up completely. Moments when you felt emotionally numb because your soul became too tired to fight anymore. Moments when you quietly asked yourself whether life would always feel this heavy. But look at yourself now. You survived days you once thought would destroy you. You are still standing after storms that should have buried you. You are still breathing after heartbreaks that shattered your confidence. And do you know why? Because I never released my grip on you. Even when your faith became weak, mine remained strong around your life. Even when you doubted yourself, I never doubted who I created you to become. I carried you through nights where you could barely carry your own thoughts. I protected your mind when darkness tried to consume it. I guarded your future when hopelessness tried to convince you there was nothing left ahead. My precious child, the reason this pain feels so deep is because your purpose is deep also. The enemy attacks what carries value. The pressure against your life is proof that something powerful still waits ahead of you. Do not misunderstand your suffering. Hell would not fight this hard against someone without purpose. The tears you cried were not proof of weakness. They were evidence of warfare surrounding your destiny. And even now, while you listen to these words, chains are beginning to break around your spirit. The heaviness that has followed you for so long is beginning to lose its grip. I am breathing fresh strength into your tired soul. I am restoring the parts of your heart that pain tried to harden. I'm teaching you how to hope again after disappointment tried to silence your faith. Comment this truth was meant for me if you know God sent it to you. But you must not leave this message unfinished, because what I am speaking into your life tonight is not ordinary comfort. This is divine direction for the season you are entering now. The breaking point you feared was actually the place where I began constructing a stronger version of you. You thought you were falling apart, but I was removing everything that could not follow you into your next season. Some people had to leave because they could not go where I am taking you. Some doors had to close because they were distractions disguised as opportunities. Some delays had to happen because your future required deeper preparation. And now, after all the tears, all the sleepless nights, all the silent battles, you are standing closer to your breakthrough than your pain wants you to believe. So breathe again, my child. Lift your eyes again. Trust me again. Your story is not ending in sorrow. I know your heart still carries scars, but scars are proof that wounds healed instead of killing you. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not too broken for me to restore. I am still writing your story, and the chapters ahead carry healing your present pain cannot yet imagine. The tears you hid last night touched heaven itself, and I am answering them now. Stay close to me in this season because the finish line is much closer than your exhaustion admits. The darkness surrounding you now will not last forever. Morning is coming, my beloved child, and when it arrives, you will finally understand why I never allowed your pain to destroy you. My beloved child, there is something I need you to hear before your heart carries this burden one more day. I saw every tear you tried to hide from the world. I saw the moments when you turned your face away so nobody would notice your eyes filling with pain. I saw the nights when you sat in silence pretending to be strong while your soul quietly cried out for relief. You believed nobody understood the heaviness inside your chest, but I understood it completely. Before one tear ever left your eyes, I already knew the pain that created it. Before your heart broke, I already felt the ache that would follow. You may have hidden your suffering from people around you, but you never hid it from me. Not for 1 second. I watched you when you smiled in front of others while secretly falling apart inside. I saw how hard you worked to keep yourself together because you feared becoming a burden to people who already failed to understand your heart. You became skilled at hiding your sadness. You learned how to laugh while carrying grief. You learned how to encourage others while silently needing comfort yourself. You kept telling everyone that you were fine because you no longer knew how to explain the exhaustion living inside your spirit. But my child, I never asked you to suffer in silence. I never asked you to carry pain alone until it crushed the life out of your heart. I saw the pressure you placed upon yourself to appear strong when all you truly needed was someone safe enough to hold your tears without judgment. And when nobody else could do that for you, I remained there beside you through every lonely moment. Do you remember those nights when sleep would not come because your thoughts became too loud? You laid there replaying conversations, betrayals, disappointments, and fears until your heart felt too tired to keep fighting. You wondered why life kept hurting you in the same places. You questioned whether healing would ever truly happen for you. Sometimes you cried so quietly because you did not want anyone in the next room to hear the pain hidden behind your breathing. But I heard every trembling breath. I heard every whispered prayer. I heard every silent scream your soul released into the darkness. My beloved child, there is no pain you experience that heaven ignores. Every tear you cried became precious before me. I collected them all, not because I enjoy watching you suffer, but because your tears matter deeply to my heart. I know there were moments when your heart became angry with me. Moments when you asked why I allowed certain people to wound you so deeply. You trusted them. You loved them sincerely. You gave pieces of your heart away believing they would protect what was sacred inside you. Instead, they abandoned you, betrayed you, misunderstood you, or slowly became strangers while you desperately tried to save what was falling apart. I saw the confusion that followed. I saw how rejection made you question your value. I saw how betrayal made you afraid to trust again. I saw how disappointment slowly built walls around your heart until even love began feeling dangerous. But listen carefully to me now. What people did to you was never a reflection of your worth. Their inability to love you correctly did not decrease the beauty I placed inside your soul. You are not hard to love, my child. You were simply handing your heart to people who did not know how to carry something so precious. I know you became tired of being the strong one. Tired of always helping others while secretly feeling empty yourself. Tired of pretending you could handle pain that was slowly draining the joy from your spirit. There were days when your body continued moving, but your heart felt emotionally numb. You laughed less. You hoped less. You trusted less. And even though nobody else noticed the change inside you, I noticed everything. I saw how disappointment stole your excitement for life little by little. I saw how fear started whispering lies into your thoughts late at night. Fear told you that healing would never come. Fear told you that your best days were already behind you. Fear convinced you that this heaviness would follow you forever. But fear has never been the author of your story. I am. And I refuse to let your pain become the final voice speaking over your life. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us, given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. My precious child, I need you to stop blaming yourself for every wound you carry. Some battles exhausted you because you love it deeply. Some scars remain because your heart was genuine in a world filled with brokenness. You keep replaying your mistakes while ignoring how much pressure you survive. You keep criticizing yourself for moments of weakness while forgetting how long you carried burdens nobody else could see. Give yourself grace, my child. Even now, while you listen to these words, you are surviving battles that would have destroyed many others long ago. You are stronger than you realize, not because life has been easy, but because I have quietly strengthened you through every painful season you endured. I saw the nights where you cried yourself to sleep asking me if your life would ever change. I saw the mornings where getting out of bed already felt emotionally exhausting because your heart woke up carrying yesterday's pain all over again. I saw the disappointment when prayers seemed unanswered. I saw the loneliness that followed you even in crowded rooms. I saw the hidden anxiety you tried so hard to control. And my child, through all of it, I stayed close to you. Even when you could not feel my presence, I never stepped away from your life. The silence you experienced was never abandonment. It was a quiet place where I was strengthening parts of your spirit that suffering alone could never build. You thought your tears were signs of weakness, but many of those tears became the very prayers that protected your future. The moments where you broke down before me opened doors for healing you could not yet understand. Pain softened places in your heart that pride would have hardened. Tears taught you compassion. Heartbreak taught you discernment. Loneliness taught you how deeply you need my presence. And while none of those lessons felt beautiful during the storm, one day you will look back and realize that I was shaping your soul even through the seasons that nearly broke you. There were also moments when you almost stopped believing altogether. Moments when disappointment became so heavy that trusting me again felt difficult. You asked questions you were afraid to say out loud. You wondered why evil people seemed to succeed while your own heart kept fighting silent battles nobody noticed. But even during those moments of doubt, I did not condemn you. I understood your pain. I understood the exhaustion behind your questions. A hurting heart sometimes struggles to see clearly, and I never abandoned you for being honest about your pain. Instead, I stayed near you patiently, waiting for the moment your heart would finally realize that I was still carrying you even while you struggled to feel my presence. My beloved child, if only you could see how many times I protected you from things you never even noticed. There were doors I closed because they would have destroyed your peace later. There were people I removed because they secretly carried darkness into your life. There were moments where disaster almost touched you, but my hand stood between you and destruction. You focused so much on what hurt you that you could not yet see everything I quietly saved you from. One day your heart will fully understand how loved and protected you truly were, even during the hardest seasons of your life. I know you feel tired now. I know your heart still carries wounds that ache when certain memories return. I know some nights still feel heavier than others. But hear me clearly, my precious child. Your tears were never wasted. Not one heartbreak. Not one lonely night. Not one silent prayer. I have been using every painful moment to prepare healing deeper than you can currently imagine. The enemy wanted your pain to destroy your faith, but instead your pain brought you closer to my heart. The enemy wanted your suffering to make you bitter, but instead I am teaching you how to become stronger without losing your softness. You are not becoming weaker through this season. You are becoming refined. So stop believing the lie that nobody cares about your pain. I care deeply. I have always cared. I cared when your voice shook while trying to explain your emotions to people who did not listen. I cared when disappointment made you question your future. I cared when loneliness wrapped around your heart so tightly that you felt emotionally trapped. And I care now, in this very moment, while you read these words searching for hope strong enough to hold on to again. My child, you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not invisible to heaven. I saw every tear you hid, and I promise you this with all the love in my heart. The season that made you cry will not last forever. Healing is already moving toward you. Restoration is already beginning. And one day soon, the same eyes that cried so many tears in secret will cry tears of joy because you will finally understand that I never stopped holding you through it all. My beloved child, there is a truth hidden beneath your pain that you have not fully understood yet. You thought you were breaking apart, but I was building something inside you that could not be created any other way. I know there were moments when the pressure became so heavy that you questioned whether you would survive emotionally. You felt stretched beyond your limits. You felt exhausted from fighting battles nobody else could see. Some days it felt as though life kept taking from you faster than you could recover. But listen carefully now, because what I am about to tell you will change the way you view every painful season you endured. None of your suffering was meaningless. None of your tears were wasted. None of your delays were empty. While you believed life was crushing you, I was secretly shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, deeper, and more prepared for the destiny waiting ahead of you. You kept asking me why certain doors closed in front of you. You kept wondering why relationships fell apart, why opportunities disappeared, why prayers seemed delayed, and why your heart carried so much disappointment all at once. But my child, if I had allowed some of those doors to remain open, they would have destroyed the future I was preparing for you. I know it hurt when things ended unexpectedly. I know rejection wounded your confidence. I know unanswered prayers tested your faith. But what looked like loss to you was often protection from paths that would have broken your spirit even more deeply later. I removed certain things because they could not survive the future I planned for you. I allowed certain storms because your current strength was not enough for where you are going. Comfort would never have developed the endurance your purpose requires. You saw yourself falling apart during those lonely nights, but heaven saw a soul being refined through fire. Gold is not destroyed by fire, my child. Gold is purified by it. The fire only removes what was never meant to remain. And in the same way, your painful seasons have been removing fear, pride, unhealthy attachments, false dependence, and hidden weaknesses from your spirit. The process hurt because growth often hurts before it heals. Transformation is uncomfortable because the old version of you cannot follow where I am leading you. There were habits you needed to outgrow. There were people you needed to release. There were fears you needed to confront. And there were wounds inside your heart that had to finally surface so I could truly heal them instead of letting them quietly poison your future. I know you became frustrated watching others move ahead while your own life felt delayed. You compared your journey to people around you and wondered why their lives seemed easier while your path remained filled with struggle after struggle. But my beloved child, never confuse someone else's visible success with spiritual preparation. I have not forgotten you. I have simply been building you differently. Some people are blessed quickly because their assignment requires less preparation. But your future carries weight. Your calling carries influence. The strength I am creating inside you now will sustain blessings that would have crushed you if they arrived too early. You keep asking for the finished promise while I am still strengthening the foundation beneath it. You know how many times your pain saved you from becoming someone shallow. Without these battles, you might never have discovered how deeply you need my presence. Without heartbreak, you might still trust people more than me. Without loneliness, you might never have developed the quiet strength that now lives inside your spirit. Without disappointment, you might never have learned how temporary this world truly is. Pain has taught you lessons comfort never could. Suffering forced you to seek me in ways success never would have inspired. And even though you hated the process while living through it, one day you will realize that some of the greatest blessings in your life were born from seasons you once begged me to remove. Say I give you my heart, my life, my all if he's become your deepest longing. My child, you thought you were weak because you cried so often. But tears are not weakness when they are born from endurance. Tears are what happen when a soul carries pressure for too long without release. I watched you survive days where your heart felt emotionally shattered. I watched you continue moving forward even while your spirit quietly struggled beneath the surface. Do not overlook your own resilience. The fact that you are still standing after everything you survived is proof that my strength has been holding you together all along. Many times you thought you were reaching your breaking point, but every time you almost collapsed completely, I carried you further than your own strength could have taken you. There were also moments when you became angry with yourself for not healing faster. You expected yourself to recover quickly from wounds that deeply damage your trust, your confidence, and your peace. But healing is not a race, my precious child. Some wounds heal slowly because they touch places inside your soul that were already fragile long before the pain arrived. I have been healing layers of your heart one season at a time. Be patient with yourself. Do not condemn yourself for still struggling in areas where you are learning to trust again. Even now, while you feel frustrated by your progress, I see growth inside you that you cannot yet recognize. You respond differently now. You think differently now. You discern people differently now. You pray differently now. Pain changed you, yes, but not all change is destruction. Some change is preparation for elevation. You feared that suffering would permanently harden your heart. You worried that disappointment would eventually turn you cold and bitter toward life. But look closely at yourself, my child. Despite everything you endured, you still carry compassion. You still care deeply. You still desire love, peace, healing, and purpose. The enemy wanted your pain to make you hateful, but instead I am teaching you wisdom without removing your softness. That is why your survival matters so much. You are learning how to become stronger without losing your ability to love. And that balance will become one of the greatest strengths in your future. I know there were nights when you asked me why your life seemed harder than everyone else's around you. But what if your battles were never proof that I abandoned you? What if they were evidence that your life carries greater purpose than you currently understand? The enemy attacks what threatens him. The pressure against your mind, your peace, and your confidence was never random. Darkness fights hardest against people carrying light powerful enough to change lives around them. And even though you often felt overwhelmed by the warfare surrounding your life, you survived because my hand remained over you every step of the way. My beloved child, I need you to stop seeing yourself as broken beyond repair. You are not ruined because life hurt you deeply. You are being rebuilt through every painful season you survive. Construction often looks messy before the final structure appears beautiful. Foundations are formed underground where nobody applauds the process. In the same way, much of the rebuilding happening inside your soul has been invisible to others around you. They saw your pain but could not see the strength forming beneath it. They saw your tears but could not see the wisdom growing through them. They saw your delays but could not see heaven aligning your future behind the scenes. But I saw all of it. I saw every hidden victory your spirit achieved even while your heart felt tired. You keep mourning the version of yourself that existed before the pain arrived. But my child, that older version of you would not have survived the future I prepared ahead. The storms chained you because they needed to. The fire refined you because it had to. I am not creating a weaker version of you through suffering. I am building someone spiritually stronger, emotionally wiser, mentally sharper, and deeply dependent on my presence. One day you will look back at this painful season and realize that your greatest growth happened during moments when you thought your life was falling apart completely. So stop fearing the process now. Stop believing that your pain means your future is ruined. You are not losing yourself, my child. You are discovering who you truly are beneath all the fear, pressure, expectations, disappointments, and heartbreaks this world placed upon you. The breaking point you feared became the building ground where I began creating a stronger soul inside you. And when the season ahead finally opens before your life, you will understand why I allowed the struggle to last as long as it did. Because the person walking into your future must carry strength deep enough to survive success, wisdom deep enough to handle influence, and faith strong enough to endure whatever comes next. You thought you were breaking, but all along, I was building someone who could carry the blessings, responsibilities, and purpose waiting on the other side of this storm. My beloved child, I know there were many nights when you questioned where I was. You prayed with tears in your eyes, but the answers did not come quickly. You waited for relief, but the storm continued. You searched for signs, for comfort, for reassurance that I still heard your voice, yet all you felt was silence surrounding your heart. And because the silence lasted longer than you expected, fear slowly convinced you that perhaps I had stepped away from your life. You began wondering whether heaven had become distant from your pain. But listen carefully to me now, because this truth is important for your healing. My silence was never my absence. Just because you could not hear me clearly did not mean I abandoned you. Just because you could not see my hand moving did not mean I stopped working for your good. I was with you in every painful moment you survived. I was there during the nights when your thoughts became too heavy for sleep. I was there when your chest felt tight from anxiety and your heart carried questions too deep for words. I was there when disappointment crushed your expectations again and again until hope itself became difficult to hold on to. My child, you measured my presence by visible answers, but I was working in invisible ways you could not yet understand. While you were waiting, I was protecting you. While you were crying, I was strengthening you. While you were asking why nothing seemed to change, I was arranging things behind the scenes that required time, wisdom, and divine timing far beyond what your eyes could see. You wanted immediate answers because your pain felt urgent. I understood that. I saw how exhausted you became carrying burdens day after day without relief. But if I had answered certain prayers too early, they would have led you into seasons you were not emotionally ready to survive. There were people you asked me to keep in your life who secretly carried destruction into your future. There were doors you begged me to open that would have stolen your peace later. There were blessings you wanted immediately that would have overwhelmed the version of you that existed at that time. So while you interpreted my silence as rejection, it was actually protection guided by perfect love. Do you remember how alone you felt during those seasons, where nobody seemed to understand what you were going through? You smiled around people while quietly carrying battles inside your mind that you could barely explain. Some wounds hurt too deeply for language. Some fears became too exhausting to repeat aloud. And eventually, you stopped trying to explain your pain because you grew tired of being misunderstood. But my beloved child, even when human beings failed to understand your heart, I understood every hidden emotion. I understood the loneliness behind your silence. I understood the exhaustion behind your anger. I understood the heartbreak beneath your numbness. You never had to explain yourself perfectly for me to fully know what your soul was carrying. There were moments when you thought I ignored your prayers because nothing changed immediately after you cried out to me. But heaven was never silent toward your pain. Every prayer reached me. Every tear touched my heart. Every sleepless night became part of conversations in heaven concerning your future. The problem was never that I stopped listening. The problem was that your pain made it difficult to trust what you could not yet see. Suffering has a way of making silence feel louder than truth. Pain can make waiting feel like abandonment. But my child, faith is often built in seasons where answers do not arrive quickly. Trust becomes strongest when it survives uncertainty. I know there were nights when disappointment whispered lies into your thoughts. Lies telling you that your future would never improve. Lies convincing you that your prayers no longer mattered. Lies making you believe you had somehow been forgotten while everyone else around you moved forward. But those lies were never spoken by me. I have never forgotten you. Not once. I knew every detail of your struggle before it even arrived. I knew how heavy this season would feel. I knew there would be days when your strength seemed too small for the battles surrounding you. And because I knew all of that, I stayed even closer to you than before. You may not have recognized my presence because it did not appear the way you expected, but I was carrying you quietly through moments that could have destroyed you completely. Sometimes I speak loud enough for your ears to hear. Other times I speak through strength you suddenly find in the middle of exhaustion. Sometimes I speak through peace that arrives without explanation. Sometimes I speak through closed doors that protect you from hidden danger. And sometimes I speak through silence because silence forces your spirit to grow deeper roots in trust rather than temporary emotions. If I removed every storm immediately, you would never discover how strong your faith could become through endurance. If I answered every prayer instantly, you would never learn how deeply you need my presence beyond visible blessings. My precious child, I know how painful waiting had been for you. I know you became tired of hearing people say just trust the process while your heart silently broke beneath the pressure of unanswered questions. You wanted certainty. You wanted reassurance. You wanted immediate evidence that your suffering would eventually make sense. But faith was never meant to depend entirely upon visible evidence. Faith grows strongest when your spirit chooses to trust me even while your eyes cannot yet see the outcome. And despite all the moments where fear tried to pull you away from hope, you are still here. You are still listening. You are still reaching toward me even after everything your heart survived. That alone reveals how deeply my hand has remained over your life. There were unseen battles happening around you that you never recognized. There were attacks aimed at your mind, your peace, your purpose, and your future that could have destroyed you if I had not intervened quietly behind the scenes. Some people walked away from your life because I removed them before they could damage you further. Some opportunities disappeared because I saw consequences you could not yet recognize. Some delays happened because timing matters more than human impatience understands. My child, I was never standing far away while you suffered alone. I was standing between you and dangers you could not see. Right, I receive your blessing this moment if you're ready to walk in His favor. And share this video.